Hi you guys, welcome back. So today will be a blast from the past type video, and we'll be looking at and going over some board meetings from 2014. And these board meetings took place about 1 year after Tiffany Henyard first became a trustee. So she became a trustee in 2013, and these were held in 2014. First, we will hear a little bit of citizens' address, and the person we're going to hear from first should be familiar to you guys because he's played a consistent and significant role in the Village of Dolton's ongoing fight to get Tiffany Henyard out of the mayor's position. This guy's name is Dan Lee, and from the very beginning he showed interest and suggested solutions to Dolton's ongoing issues with finances and village-owned properties like Melanie Fitness. And Melanie Fitness always seemed to be draining money from the village, and they just couldn't get it together with that facility for one reason or another. Let's listen to Dan Lee talk about his take on how the village could increase the value of Melanie Fitness and restore its popularity amongst the residents of Dolton.
I was looking at that Melanie Fitness Center, $100-something $1,000 loss. I know for a few years I've been trying to get membership there, and the price is pretty high for a senior citizen. I'm almost 65 years old, and I understand they've changed the price structure somewhat, but I think there may be better efforts to possibly reach out to some of the seniors, or maybe even some of the students with maybe some different pricing to get more people into the center. You know, as it stands right now, it's pretty much sitting there as far as I can see. I don't see a lot of people coming in and out of there. I think you could put a nice dip in there, if not turn a profit, if somebody really looks into doing something with that center that people would want to go there for. Okay. You know, it's just a suggestion. Right. Okay.
So this was 2014, and it's very evident that the Melanie Fitness Center was struggling even back then. Now let's look at some of the issues and controversies that surrounded the Melanie Fitness Center, and in doing so, we'll try to understand the ongoing issues of it not generating enough revenue and basically being a burden on the Village of Dolton more than anything else. So this first controversy we're going to look at concerns this guy right here, and his name is Dwayne Muhammad, and he was a trustee, and he was also head of the Melanie Fitness Committee. During this time on the board and during his chairmanship of the Melanie Fitness Committee, there was a scandal that hit the news regarding an event held at the Melanie Fitness Center. Let's watch and then I'll chime back in.
The Melanie Fitness Center in Dolton has a large pool and exercise room, and last month the taxpayer-owned facility was used for a racy adult pool party. Among the featured guests, a dancer named Lonnie Pop.
Wow.
Your reaction when you first saw this video?
I couldn't believe it. They was making it rain on her derriere with $1 bills. That type of activity belonged at a strip joint or at a private club, not in a village-owned and operated building.
The fitness center manager rented the space to promoters for $500. Stubbs and other village officials say they were never consulted.
The party should not have went on.
So what actually makes this story more interesting is that Dwayne Muhammad had also put his hat in the race for mayor at one point. Of course, he didn't succeed, but another interesting part about him heading the Melanie Fitness Center committee is that he employed his son as the manager of the fitness center.
Dolton trustee Dwayne Muhammad chairs the fitness center committee, and his son is the general manager. Muhammad says there was nothing illegal or even improper.
It was a pool party, and with a pool party, people have on bathing suits. And that's how young people dance nowadays. So you cannot censor how people dance at a pool party.
The promoter says no alcohol was served at the party, and the cash bar ad was a mistake. He defended Pop's routine, adding that there was no nudity. At the board meeting tonight, a video of the pool party was shown, and trustees moved to ban all adult pool parties at the Melanie Center in the future.
Why would we want to put a black eye on this village for people to look at across this state? And everybody here probably agrees that it's wrong, and all we got to do is stop it.
And to add insult to injury, Muhammad actually wanted to go back and then chair the Melanie Fitness Committee again. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at a clip from another board meeting.
I was just asking Trustee Pearson what was that. So what are we doing? I'm a little lost on.
I can answer that,
okay,
if you don't mind. Melanie Fitness Center does not have a committee. We like to add that to the Human Services Committee, we're in the process of selling that facility. Like we've just recently sold the Dorchester, we want to make sure there's a smooth transition, and that a committee should be in place to deal with the sale and other issues dealing with the recreation center.
So we making a separate committee for that?
We're adding that committee to the Human Services Committee.
Human Services.
So basically, he's trying to include the Melanie Fitness Center and the decisions concerning the Melanie Fitness Center into the Human Services Committee, which he is a part of. Kind of sly there. Let's see how this goes.
In my discussion, I would suggest that we do not add it to the Human Services Committee under the direction of Trustee Muhammad, due to the fact of when he was over it before, the strip party that he allowed to go on at the Melanie Fitness Center, and then he got on Channel 2 News and said, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Muhammad says there was nothing illegal or even improper.
It was a pool party, and with a pool party, people have on bathing suits. And that's how young people dance nowadays. So you cannot censor how people dance at a pool party.
I would say judgment. Now, you got a trustee here that's on this board that said right on TV, I don't think there's nothing wrong with doing it. And now you want to put it right back under his auspices and his control? Come on, think about it, board.
Is this discussion, Mayor? Will you allow me to retort to your
Go ahead.
inaccuracy?
Go ahead.
I'm not going to go back and forth with the misinformation.
Thank you.
Let me have the floor, please, with all due respect. I will not go back and forth with you on the inaccuracies of some kind of strip party that took place. It was a pool party, and with a pool party, people have on bathing suits. And that's how young people dance nowadays. So you cannot censor how people dance at a pool party. I will not go back and forth with you on the inaccuracies of some kind of strip party that took place when we all know that across the street at Club 1 that you authorized an illegal license to, that had a strip club on the second floor.
That's not
where
true.
4 people were shot, and
That's
the
not true.
5th person was shot right in front of the place of an actual strip club.
So here we go. Muhammad gets called out for the strip party, so he calls the mayor out for a club that exists across the street from Village Hall, apparently. And there was a shooting there. And since the mayor is the liquor commissioner at that time, of course, you know, there's going to be fault on him. Let's go ahead and look at what happened with that club shooting.
Tonight, big questions after a shooting at a Dolton nightclub. Who's responsible, and was it even supposed to be open?
Police are not releasing a lot of details about this ongoing investigation, but they did tell us all those who have been shot are in critical but stable condition at this hour. That, of course, can change, as has the area where the crimes took place.
I used to bring my children here to a movie theater.
The film stopped playing here years ago, but today you'll find no business going on here. This place is closed by police order. What longtime neighbor Allison Key now finds outside the building, now labeled Club 1, is the fear she no longer recognizes her own community.
It's scary. It's scary. I mean, we're still raising young families here.
Crime tape was raised past bar time. A shooting in and outside the club brought police to the business. The gun violence right across the street, mere steps from the Village Municipal Building.
The club should be shut down.
5 Village trustees addressed the media. That is the same number of people they say were shot early this morning. Dwayne Muhammad says the mass gun violence started on the second floor where 2 men began arguing.
One of the males went into the purse of his girlfriend and pulled out the weapon.
How did a gun get in a club that doesn't allow guns?
According to Chief Collins, I asked that same question, is that they do check individuals going in. Again, this is conjecture. The security didn't check it thoroughly.
Muhammad says 4 people were shot inside and the shooter was shot outside. However, it is unclear who shot him. What's also unclear to trustees is if the club currently permitted for building had the proper licensing to even serve alcohol.
So we will meet with the mayor and find out if he issued a license to Club 1.
So this just goes to serve as an example of, you know, the back and forth between the board and the mayor always existed, you know, with that administration, with the Tiffany Henyard administration. And as far as the Jason House administration, time can only tell how things will go. I do have faith for the Jason House administration, though. I do feel like the majority of the current board actually have the well-being of the village in mind. They have the capability to compromise and work as a team.
You guys supposed to legislate
I govern the town. When y'all get that in your head of who does what, you guys will move differently here in the village.
And Jason House, I feel, is a great leader because he leads with logic and he leads with receipts, okay? Unlike Tiffany Henyard administration, who led with just pure chaos.
And I think I've shown you your work as it relates as your mayor, because I tell this to anybody, no man's gonna get mad here. Let a woman run it, and I'm gonna show y'all what we gonna do.
All right, there's no other way to say it, right? All right, let's go ahead and get back to this board meeting and let's see how this vote goes with Trustee Dwayne Muhammad trying to get the Melanie Fitness back into his grasp.
Here we go.
Now, there is a motion on the floor and a second. Let's take the vote.
Yeah. You had one chance and you proved that you did not have the proper judgment for activities at the Melanie Fitness Center. So it's up to this board who you want to give control to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trustee Henyard.
My suggestion would be to have it separate and to have like some of the newer trustees to actually be on a committee or head of committee, such as Deborah Denton or Trustee House, and add other trustees to it since we all have committees that we chair. It's just a suggestion. I want everybody to get along. Trustee Muhammad do know the Melanie Fitness. I understand what you're stating that he has done in his past, but I do think he can be a committee person. But I think you should choose someone else to chair it, such as maybe one of the newer trustees if they want to take the lead. Just a suggestion.
So one thing I noticed about this interaction was that Trustee Tiffany Henyard was actually advocating for Muhammad to get back in there on the Melanie Fitness Committee. Now, I can only speculate as to why, were her reasons genuine, like she really wanted to give him a second chance at it? Or did she have other motives behind her support of him? She did suggest that Trustee Denton and Trustee House get involved in the committee. I'm just not really sure, Can you blame me for being a little skeptical at her true motives? All right, let's go ahead and move on. So another reason why Melanie Fitness had issues was because of COVID, of course. It stopped a lot of people from going out, and a lot of businesses never recovered after the COVID era. So we know that some of the issues that happened under the old mayor's administration as it pertains to the Melanie Fitness Center. But why has there always been this ongoing issue with Dolton as it pertains to Melanie Fitness Center and it not being a reliable source of revenue for the village? And who served as a hindrance in the process rather than a problem solver? I know you guys can guess one of those people. Ding, 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 is Tiffany Henyard, right? She hindered the process of the Melanie Fitness Center while at the same time never offering any helpful solutions as to what to do with the building. For example, let's take a quick look at this board meeting where Mayor Tiffany Henyard blocks the trustees from getting an appraisal on the Melanie Fitness Center. And in real estate, an appraisal is a professional, unbiased estimate of a property's market value, and it's usually conducted by a licensed appraiser, and it's a crucial step in the home buying and selling process, especially when securing a mortgage, as it helps to ensure that the purchase price aligns with the property's true worth. Now let's take a look at how Tiffany responds to the board wanting to do an appraisal for the Melanie Fitness property.
But I still suggest we do not do another appraisal. You guys can go back to the same appraisal company and they can revise the numbers for you, but that's a waste of money. So I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll move forward.
So as we could see, Tiffany was totally against it, and we would later see the true motives behind her turning down the board's appraisal of the Melanie Fitness Center, and that's because she already had her own plans to turn it into a police station. Plans that never came to fruition because she went about it all wrong. I know you guys are like, what, Tiffany Henyard going about things wrong? Yes, all wrong. Not getting approval from the board, not getting any type of inspections done on the building. She didn't follow anyone's rules but her own. So now, once again, the Melanie Fitness Center is just sitting there, and it's now a building with a police station sign on it. That's not actually a police station. And I'm sure you guys can see the major issues and liability factors that come into play when you have a building that's pretending to be a police station, right? And the reason why there's a police sign on the building is because Tiffany went out and bought the $50,000 police sign without the board's approval, put it up there on the building, and then that's it. She would host her bingo nights there sometimes, but other than that, once again, the building is just bleeding money from the village with it just existing. At one point, Tiffany mentioned that she was going to be in contact with the YMCA to see if they wanted to come into the village and do something with the building, but that never happened either. My guess is that she was just blowing hot air, and she never intended for anyone to do anything with the building unless it was her. Why? So she could get all the credit for it, of course, right? Well, she's getting credit for a lot of things, and they're not good things, needless to say.
Dolton wasn't even known until she became the mayor, and it's not for anything great.
All right, now let's get back to this 2014 board meeting, and we'll continue up with Dan Lee giving his citizens address, and this will also segue us into someone else that will be a topic of discussion during this video, and that is this lady right here, Tiffany Miller, and she is the finance director for Dolton, or was, and she was hired on with the Village of Dolton as the director of finance, and she held that job from 2014 to 2015. Not sure exactly what happened, if she quit, whatever, but then she ended up being rehired during the Tiffany Henyard administration. So the reason why I wanted to highlight Tiffany Miller is I really wanted to highlight her behavior. Her behavior then, and how forthcoming she was with information to the residents and the rest of the board members, compared to how she was so withholding under the Tiffany Henyard administration. So let's go ahead and start off with Dan Lee's comment, because he's going to ask a question as well, and then we'll listen to Tangenique and her response.
In addition to that, the motor fuel item, why is that zeroed out? It's got motor fuel and there's no figure there.
Tangenique, would you like to answer that, please, Ms. Hall?
Motor fuel is a special, it's for a special purpose. So it's zeroed out because the expenses must match the income, and it's only used for streets and sanitation and upkeep of the streets. So that's why it's zeroed out, because the income matches the expense. So it washes out. Right, it washes out.
So yeah, as you guys can see, she had no issues answering about the motor fuel tax. You know, he wanted a little bit more clarification. She had no issues, okay? No attitude about it. Now let's go ahead and look at some of her behaviors and her responses to the trustees as it pertains to financial questions while she was under the Tiffany Henyard administration.
All right, next on the agenda is discussion and approval of ordinance 23- authorizing the issues of not to exceed 3.9 million general obligation tax anticipation warrants in anticipation of the collection of taxes levied for tax year 2022 and tax year 2023 by the Village of Dolton. As you guys know, last year we had to take out basically a loan, that's what it is really, to pay for our bills moving forward. Right now, this year, we will have the same problem. Our taxes will be late to us.
What's going on here is Tiffany Henyard is asking for the board's approval of a $4 million loan. All right, and this is going to be more than the loan they had to take out last year. Now, I will say that this is nothing new to the administration. Previous administration, like the previous mayor, they've had to do that before, right before taxes, because I guess the taxes were late or whatever the case may be. But apparently this is not something new to Dolton around tax season.
So normally we take out money to basically cover whatever expenses we have along the way. So we're asking the board to support the movement so that we can stay above water as we move forward, because we are not getting our tax money on time like we did the prior year. And then once that money do come in, we replenish, we basically refund the account. So that's what's going on. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Janice.
Okay, I know last year we took out $2.9 million for the loan, and then it was paid back. Is it a reason why we're taking out an extra million now?
Tangenique, she's a financial advisor, and she just is acting like she just can't be bothered. Okay, Like, you're literally at a board meeting right now. This is your job to sit here and answer the questions from the trustees. But she's like taking her time, you know, getting the microphone and just giving a real snooty attitude about it all. It's just like very unnecessary. Like, answer the questions. But you know, when people don't want to answer questions, it's because there's something to hide, right? That's usually my experience.
Is it a reason why we're taking out an extra $1 million now? Or can you just answer that? Oh, you don't mind.
In the ordinance, it outlines the expenses that this bond will cover and how they calculated that amount.
So is the amount that we are getting that is from our taxes, does it equate to $3.9 million? I guess that's my question.
Yeah.
So just a lot of pauses, not answering questions, turning her head to the side, scratching. I mean, the body language she exhibited and the person next to her, Janice Johnson, just displayed people who are not being very forthcoming, in my opinion. We could see she's scratching, she's looking away, she's not wanting to make eye contact, just a whole lot of suspect behavior going on, you know. And then instead of answering the trustees' questions, she basically just says, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take out what we want.
No.
Do we need, like when we take out a loan, you want to take it out for what we need so that we're not paying more in interest. So I'm asking, do we need the entire 3.9 million, or can we survive off of a lower amount to save on the interest?
We're going to take out the 3.9. We're going to take out the 3.9.
You know, she's like, we're going to take out the 3.9, Jason. All right. I don't care about you trying to be responsible. This is what we want. We want the 3.9, and that's what's going to happen. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see the stark contrast between her helpfulness under the Riley administration compared to under the Tiffany Henyard administration. So back in 2014, she was answering questions. She was being forthcoming. There was no issues with questions being asked. So the obvious question here is, what changed? The obvious answer is Tiffany Henyard, right? Because she's the one that selected her staff. And Tangenique is one of the people that she has the authority to hire, alongside, you know, with the village administrator, the public works, and those are all people that she went ahead and hired on her own. And some of them, like Keith Freeman, she hired without board approval and without a proper background check. And I get it, you know, people need jobs, people need to make money. So I'm sure when she was given the opportunity to work alongside Tiffany Henyard, she was probably given a great incentive as far as money, right? As far as compensation. I am sure Tiffany Henyard offered her a great salary. And so, yeah, she just took it. She's like, it's a job. I'm going to do my job and I'm going to make this good money while I can. But the thing is, you make a deal with people like Tiffany Henyard and you're going to end up having to answer some questions, all right? And that's exactly the position that Tangenique Miller found herself in. Tangenique Miller was called in to do a deposition because there's an ongoing FBI investigation into Tiffany Henyard as it pertains to her tenure as mayor of Dolton. And in law, a deposition is a sworn testimony of a witness taken outside of the courtroom, typically during the discovery phase of a lawsuit. And it's a formal process where a witness under oath answers questions asked by attorneys, and the answers are recorded by a court reporter. Depositions are a crucial part of the discovery process, allowing parties to gather information, assess witness credibility, and prepare for a trial. Now, the deposition I could not get a hold of, but you can find it on this YouTuber's channel right here. Her name is All in the Queue, and she has 2 separate videos going over Tangenique Miller's deposition, and she's reading through it, and you'll find it very interesting because Tangenique is asked questions about when she worked for Dolton, how long she worked for Dolton, you know, the amount of hours she worked there, just in her duties and how she left Dolton, because as we could see towards the end and towards the later board meetings, we didn't see Tangenique show up to the board meetings.
I just have a question in reference to some of the items. The Moscow designs that's on there for $65,000 was brought up before, and Tanjanique Miller has stated that it was paid for already. So I'm kind of confused because we still cannot get back in my viewpoint, but just trying to find out if she said on record it was paid for, why is it still coming back up on the warrant list?
I don't have that exact information for you right now, but I'll get it. If you send it to me in email, I'll respond to you.
Okay. I just feel that we go through this every month, and with everything going on, it comes to the part where we get some finances, and the finance people not even here to never answer the questions.
Now, if you go watch her deposition on her channel, you'll get some of those answers as to why we didn't see Tanjanique Miller present at these board meetings. But once again, that YouTuber's name is all in the queue, and go ahead, check it out. Don't forget to leave her a like and hit subscribe if you guys like the channel over there. All right, now let's circle back around and see whatever happened to Trustee Dwayne Muhammad trying to get the Melanie Fitness Center back under his control via the Human Services Committee, which he is a part of.
I want everybody to get along. Trustee Muhammad do know the Melanie Fitness. I understand what you're stating that he has done in his past, but I do think he can be a committee person, but I think you should choose someone else to chair it, such as maybe one of the newer trustees if they want to take the lead. Just a suggestion.
There's a motion on the floor in a second. Appreciate the suggestion, Trustee Henyard.
Do any other trustees want to chair anything? Trustee House or Trustee Denton want to chair the Melanie Fitness?
I'm open to any of the suggestions, so I'm willing to if necessary.
Okay, John, how do we handle
I would be on the committee, but I don't want to chair.
You want to chair?
Okay,
the
who's the third
persons on this committee?
There's a motion up.
Thank you, attorney, for taking charge of your duties. Thank you.
Attorney Murphy, I would like to amend that motion. How would I do so to give the other trustees opportunity to chair a committee and have other people on that committee?
Vote no on this motion, and if your side prevails, then you'll tee up a new motion.
All right, thank you.
On the motion to transfer oversight of the Melanie Fitness Center to the Human Services Committee, chaired by Trustee Muhammad, members Trustee Stubbs and House. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
No.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
3-3. You don't have.
Okay, that motion fails. Now, do we need to, do we need it amended? Okay, we won't do it tonight.
The motion fails.
The motion fails. We won't do it tonight. Trustee Henyard, under your guidance or suggestion, I should say, if you want to form a new committee in regards to that, maybe you could seek the additional.
Can we not do it tonight because we don't have to go back through this again since it's already on the floor?
Yeah, the motion failed. We should move on to the next
Yeah.
item.
It's not on the agenda. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So as we can see, that motion didn't pass. But then at the same time, Trustee Tiffany Henyard was not given the ability to make her amended motion on this subject, which I was under the impression that she was going to do that after they made a vote on this first motion. But I feel like this is a good example to show us how government can run really slowly due to all the steps and rules that they have to follow. So in the end, Trustee Tiffany Henyard could not make her amended motion because it was not on the agenda. So therefore, they have to put it off until the next board meeting. And I will say, I believe Trustee Tiffany Henyard handled this situation with decorum, professionalism, and she went ahead and let it go. She didn't throw a fit like she usually does. So there were times that Trustee Tiffany Henyard displayed this side of her where she could be respectful and professional about decisions that were made that weren't necessarily in her favor or what she was trying to go for. Well, you guys, that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed these flashback moments and you want me to make more videos like this, please go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Let me know which parts of these that you enjoyed the most. But that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.